This is your friendly neighborhood Elsie witch who will help you stay healthy and your puppy and cat be healthy. This show is, I hope you all have a great Halloween tonight. Um, it is, the moon is just the right way, and the weather is going to be here in the Northeast. It's going to be nice and cold, nice and crisp. So hopefully we're not going to get any rain. So all of you little goblins out there are going to have really lots of fun and collect a lot of candy. And speaking of candy, you know, every Halloween we have tons of animals that have to go and see a vet, because what happens is twofold, really. One of them is, if you have a black cat, please do keep it inside for Halloween, even the days before, because every year there are some deranged people that feel like a black cat is needed for some kind of ghoulish experience, or, I mean, I live here in the woods and we have found black cats hanging in the trees that people, it's just too sad, to even talk about. But so please, next year, keep your cat inside beforehand. We don't want anything happen to it, especially black cats, because, I don't know if you know of Halloween never was this foolish, really. It is really a, a it's, it came from Scotland, the Celts and so on. And the Celts, right by harvest time, they had a All Saints Day, which is tomorrow, really. And that we kept. But they had the evening before, the dead were rising, and they were celebrated, and they would put on masks, and they would wander the earth and do all kinds of mischief. That's how really Halloween started. It's really, the word Halloween comes from Hallow, Eve. And that's how somehow it became then Halloween. It has nothing to do with weenies or Halloweenies. It has something to do with All Saints Day. Now, it's really a religious holiday, and it's really a very nice holiday. Well, then the Americans, about 20, 30 years ago, they started to have Halloween, and they started to commercialize it. And now we have Halloween as it is today. It's now a $50 billion industry, between the candy that is sold, the costumes that are sold, the all of the decorations and so on. $50 billion industry. I mean, can you imagine? Only Americans could capitalize on something like this. But that's where it is at. Now, many times our animals, when they, especially if you have kids, small kids, they go out and they collect all this candy. Some of it is hard candy, some of it is chocolate. And, they come home and they divide the booty and they have it all. And, I mean, I had kids too. The candy flies all over the place. Well, if you have animals, especially cats, they start playing with the shiny little bonbons and the shiny little things. The dogs, they are more so, oh, let's eat it. It's fun. Now, we all know that chocolate is very bad for our animals. Chocolate, especially dogs. But your dog is not going to die from eating one piece of chocolate or two pieces. They might get a little sick, depending on the size, but they will not die from it. They have to eat like 50 pounds of milk chocolate before they would die from it. But if it is baking chocolate, or it is other chocolate like the cocoa chocolate that we get now, the natural chocolate. If they eat that, they only have to eat one piece and they can get very, very seriously ill. So be aware of that when you have your kids. Don't watch just your children with the candies, and look at what the children are getting too. There are too many crazies out there. Watch what your children are getting. Sort it out. If it looks suspicious to you, or if it has been opened, don't let your children have it, because let me tell you, every year also children are getting sick from some stuff that people are, I don't know, the whole world is going a little crazy with, everybody is sort of like malicious. I don't want to put fear in you with that. However, we do need to have vigilance there. Now, cats, even when you leave it on a table, cats will start playing with the stuff. And my cats, what they do is they put it down on the table, they play with it, there, 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 and then it falls down. The dogs are waiting down and they eat it. I mean, I had a whole piece of, a whole liver was this big, okay? And, you know, I had it and I went out and I came back and I did some other things. And all of a sudden I look in the living room and there is this empty wrapper of this liverwurst. I'm saying, how did that get here? Well, the cats were putting it down for the dogs and the dogs ate it. Now they do that with candy. They do that with other things that it's not good for them. So be careful when you have cats and dogs. Another thing is also that every year children really get, they have these costumes on, and I know little girls want to be princesses. They all, my grandchildren, my granddaughter, if she's not a princess, she doesn't want to be anything. She just wants to be a princess. Well, princess outfits are often not really very warm. They don't come with leotards that are warm. They don't come with jackets that are warm. And now, usually at Halloween, in the Northeast, now if you live in the South, or if you live on the West Coast, I don't know if we have listeners. It would be kind of fun to know if we have where our listeners are coming from. So why don't you, identify yourself at one point and say you're coming from there and so on, because we would like to know how far our show reaches and who all listens, because that way I can structure the show a little bit more towards your needs also. But anyway, if you live in the Northeast, our weather, like tonight, it's going to be like 30s, okay? Well, 30s is pretty cold. And you need to dress your little girls and the boys too. But especially the boys, usually they want to be something that has pants on and you can hide some warm underwear under there and so on. But the little girls, I have seen them with naked legs running down the street, maybe a little coat thrown over them because they didn't want to hide the costume. Well, you know what? Health comes first before beauty. And we should always remember that. We should always remember that also for our animals. This time of the year, we have to stop really clipping them so short. They have to have some coat. The coat, the hair, warms them. And when you have your animals, if you go with your animals out, and a jacket or a coat is not good enough. It does not warm them as much. And if you put a coat on over the longer hair, then they are even less, because they need the hair to stand up a little bit. It creates an air pocket in there and that keeps the animal warm. So you don't want to put a coat on an animal that has some hair. And the best protection really is let the hair grow. Brush your animal a little more, but let our animals from now on, they don't get any more clippings. And I have a groomer next week coming, and we're going to be talking more extensively on that, of what to use and so on. But also, some of your decoration may be potentially hazardous to your animals, especially cats. They're going to go and play with all that spider web stuff, those little artificial spiders that you get. Some of the dogs might chew them and eat them. That's plastic. It's very bad for them. It's the strangest stuff that vets find in animals' bodies after the holidays. They eat almost anything. Um, I mean, our dogs don't, because we don't give them toys like that to chew, and also not any plastic chewies or any small chewies. They don't get any of that, so they very likely leave a little spider or something alone. They won't chew on it. But a lot of dogs don't. And if they get that into their stomach, it can cause serious damage. Um, so be careful with that. Be vigilant. Your animals are your babies. They deserve as much attention and as much vigilance as your children. And we know that our animals have the intelligence of about a 2-year-old. Maybe a 1-year-old, some dogs and cats. And just like you watch them, you need to watch your animals. So that is definitely a consideration that you have to make with your puppies, because you don't want them. Vet bills are too expensive, and all the pain that you encounter with that is not a good thing. Another thing is, I apologize today because Halloween. We recorded the show a little bit earlier, so you very likely can't call in today. But I am here for your responses, and if you have a dog or a cat that is a little freaked out by all the doorbells ringing. There's so many animals, like my dogs, they go insane. They hear a doorbell ringing and they go absolutely nuts. Now, if that happens like 30 times an evening, my little white one, who is the protector of the realm, he will just go bananas. I mean, he will hyperventilate, and he will not be able to breathe easily, and he just goes insane by so much excitement. And that is not a good thing either. We do want to keep them in an area where they do not have as much of that excitement. So if the children are coming to your door, put your animals into an area where they are not subjected to that much excitement, unless it's an old golden lab that is cool about all of that, loves children and just wants to lick them a little bit. Well, then you're absolutely cool. I don't happen to have these animals. I have this protector of the realm, a little Maltese poo, and who thinks he has the ward of all evil. So again, try to protect your animals with that. Now, some birds even, get all stressed out with all the doorbells. And if you have a Halloween party and you play some of that music, that type of music that you heard in the beginning, well, that will also be a problem for a bird even. Okay, so put your bird somewhere where they don't, where a little more protected. They don't hear all of that, because our animals are very susceptible. Their hearing, you must understand, is much more acute than ours. So be vigilant. Be careful of what you want to subject your animals to. Some of this plastic, some of this kind of stuff can also be, if they play with it, they chew on it. Plastic is really the worst. Animals cannot, nobody can digest plastic. Okay? So, and if they bite off chunks off. So be careful of that you don't have stuff like that lying around. And the worst is really the candy. Can be hard candy, chocolate candy, Twix, Snickers, all of that. They don't unwrap them, right? What they do is they eat wrapper and all. And not that the chocolate so much will hurt them. The wrapper is one. Now, if it's a soft wrapper or so on, well, they'll poop it out, maybe with a little difficulty, but then that is okay. But if it's more plastic, that stuff that really does not get very soft, then that is a major problem. So be very careful of those things. If you had incidences, let me know, because I would like to, bring that to their attention for the next time. We're going to also have for Christmas of how Christmas decorations will influence, I had one year a cat that went all the way up the Christmas tree, inside the Christmas tree. And I was like, no. But thank God it was a kitten. It was very small. Thank God the tree didn't fall down. We got the cat off and so on. But things like that happen, National Lampoon, you probably ever saw at Christmas, the Christmas story there, where the squirrel was inside the tree and raised havoc. Well, that kind of stuff happens. So, we want to make sure that it doesn't happen to us. Things like that happen to other people. Now, next week we're going to have a show all about grooming. Like I said before, it's a very important aspect coming to the winter, and I'm going to start having more guests coming on. But I do really need a little response from you guys of what you want to hear, okay? Tell me, and I will see that I make myself smart on it, and I will give you a report on it. And it's much more fun if I know, what you guys want me to talk about. I know our listenership is growing very nicely. Thank you very much. And I love it, because that's what I'm here for. I'm here to educate. I'm here to give you tips and hints and so on. And for your party tonight, let me give you a little tip of what you can do for maybe a snack or something. One of the things is what I make always for our parties on Halloween is I make a pumpkin carrot curry soup. It's very warming because there's a little bit of spice. The curry, it's not too spicy, so the children can eat it too, but it's very warming. And there's sweet potatoes in there and carrots, pumpkin, all the pumpkin innards that I scooped out when I was carving the pumpkin, I use in that soup. And then I serve it in a small pumpkin. So when people come in, they have a warm cup of soup, which is really very, very nice. Um, Hot cider is really nice for Halloween. Um, and then what I do is I make little hors d'oeuvres just. And um, one of the things I love making is a Velveeta cheese dip with horseradish. Just a touch of horseradish. If you have children and you don't want to, if you want to leave the horseradish out, that's fine. And just serve it, heat it up to bubbly, and then serve it with black chips. Very cute, very nice. People love it. Um, and I usually make an apple pie and an onion pie because now is onion season. You know, we here in the Northeast we harvest the onions, and now here's another tip: was that onions and garlic is very bad for our animals. Okay, for cats and dogs, it destroys the liver. It destroys our uh, the, the animal's being. So be careful. Do not feed them garlic powder or onion powder. It is not a good idea. And believe you me, it does not keep the vampires away. I don't know where it started. If somebody would pipe in and email us and tell us where it started, that garlic was keeping the vampires away, I would love to hear it. So I wish you all a very, very nice Halloween, very pleasant one. No incidents with your animals, no incidents with your children. And I will hopefully see you all.
Gisela,
Yes,
I've got the question. I don't know if you answered
of course.
or if you talked about it. Um, what a lot of people are scared when their dog gets a hold of an M&M.
Yeah, you don't have to be.
What
No,
I mean now, what happens if the dog got into a package that had 5 chocolate
depends on
bars?
the size. Oh, 5 chocolate bars. Well, it depends on the size of the dog, really. If it's a small dog, you might be concerned. And what you might want to do is you might want to give something that helps the dog vomit.
Okay.
Um,
Peroxide?
well, a tiny teaspoon of it,
Yeah.
okay? Not a lot more because that can damage the linings of their mouth
Okay.
and damage their stomach.
So
But a
what
tiny couple of drops of peroxide would be okay. That could help to. But here's the thing with chocolate and M&Ms. You really milk chocolate. Most dogs would have to eat 50 pounds of it before they
50?
really pound.
Wow.
Not it's the milk chocolate has so little chocolate really in it. Now, if these M&Ms are dark chocolate or the really coca, which I don't think they make them, I think they're all this mixture of milk chocolate and some other stuff.
Yeah, the cheapest stuff.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't think M&Ms would really Snicker bars or Twix really would not hurt them as much. The wrapper would hurt them more than the chocolate. But baking chocolate or dark chocolate is very poisonous for animals, for cats and dogs.
So if one bar and a dog, let's say, is 50 pounds, let's go.
Oh yeah, just watch him carefully, see if he gets a little lethargic or if he exhibits signs of really
Right.
being drowsy or so on. Well, then you can give him a couple of drops of peroxide if that does not help. Also, what I do is and here's an advice that I think you should have in your in your medicine cabinet is Charcoal tablets. Charcoal tablets, you can buy them in the health food store, or you can buy them in any vitamin store, really. And a Charcoal tablet, when an animal or yourself is slightly poisoned, you drank too much alcohol, you ate something that didn't agree with you, a Charcoal tablet will absorb that poison, and then it will be able to eliminate it. So Charcoal pills, I always have some. I'm never without. I hardly ever have to use them. They last forever. So just one little jar is going to probably last you your lifetime, but it's a good idea to have it. So if you feel your animal has been poisoned by something that they ate, give them first the Charcoal tablet and see of how one, depending, and if it's a very small dog, healthy one. And see of how they fare with that. Then wait. Arsenicum is also a very good one. Arsenicum is used for stomach upset. So if you have an Arsenicum 30C in your medicine cabinet, dilute some in some water, stir it real well, and then give a teaspoon of that to the animal. That's probably better than almost anything. Okay. But the chocolate by itself, for a chocolate bar, I wouldn't really worry too much.
Unless it's dark chocolate.
Unless it's dark chocolate. Okay. Dark chocolate, baker's chocolate, all that chocolate that we love so much. I love that bitter taste of like bitter sweet chocolate and so on. That chocolate is poisonous.
Okay.
Yes. Okay.
And it's the same for cats?
Same for cats. But cats are, it's really weird. Cats are not most likely to really eat it. Even when we have ice cream at night in the evening, and we have chocolate ice cream, they don't like the chocolate ice cream because they share in our ice cream, you know.
And, they're family members.
Our babies.
Yeah.
So what I have, because I get a little annoyed, I am weird about my ice cream, you know, my ice cream. So what I do is I put the vanilla ice cream underneath, and then I put the chocolate on top of it.
And then they don't want it.
And then my lucky, then she doesn't want it. You know, she sniffs at it and then she walks away in disgust, you know.
Okay.
But, and my husband, what he does, he puts chocolate syrup all over. And she takes it. At first, she would take one little lick of it, and she didn't like it, and she walked away from it. But, we do want to, cats are really, I mean, I haven't had a cat that really liked chocolate or would go for chocolate. But dogs do. Dogs like chocolate. And they will go after it. So, you know, be careful with that. But chocolate syrup or something like that is really not that bad for them. But don't give them tons of it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if it's an accident, fine. But don't really give it to them.
Don't give it to yourself a lot of it either.
Oh, you bet you. I mean, I looked at some of my I had an old from last year a Halloween costume that I was trying to dig out, and I said, oh goodness, I think I'm going to have to go on a diet. So yeah, I think I'm going to have to eliminate the chocolate ice cream in the evening, or at least have just a little less of it. All right.
Thank you. Good advice. Thank you.
Well, it was such a pleasure being with you all again. And like I said, have a wonderful Halloween. Let me know of how you like the show. Let me know what you want me to talk about. if you have a sick animal and you need some advice, you can always email me at mylive-mywill at live, live.com. Or you can go to my website, mylive-mywill.com. Love to hear from you guys. It was a pleasure, as always. And happy Halloween!
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. Our weekly lineup of call-in programs includes Computers 2K Now with Amnon Nissan, Health In with Debbie Bruck, Breaking Free with Marilyn Shannon, Lessons of Vietnam with NCVVI members, The Tanya Love Show, Your Healthy Pet with Gisela DiCarlo. And if you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it at www.nissancommunications.com. Sponsored by Atomus.com, makers of quality video recorders and converters for professionals, CarolinaApparel.com, and DeltaForce.net.